guys, my name is Sarah Dici. I live in New York City, and today I'm going to teach you how to vlog.
I have a YouTube channel based around tech and creativity. I review the latest technology, vlog my adventures when traveling and working in New York City, and also give tutorials on how to make videos.
Typically people associate this with vlogging. It's basically picking up maybe a small camera and walking around and filming yourself, but it's so much more than that. It's telling a story, maybe in a 10-minute video, posting it to YouTube for the world to see. Vlog, it stands for video blog, so I'm going to teach you how to do that. I'm going to teach you what to shoot with, how to shoot with it, how do you tell a compelling story, and then how do you edit your footage, how do you organize everything. I'm going to talk about specific cameras. You can get really fancy with interchangeable lenses, but if you use a simple point and shoot camera like a RX100 or G7X, usually you can throw the settings on auto and it's going to do everything for you. So it's going to expose correctly, so your face will be lit to the proper exposure. However, a lot of the times you want to throw your camera into manual mode and you need to know the different settings, how to work them, so you have the ISO, shutter, and aperture. Those three things are a way to control how much light goes into the camera. So the aperture is basically how wide open your lens is. So this is going to be a low number aperture and this is going to be a high number aperture. So that means the smaller the opening, the less light that it's going to let in. This is the aperture at f8. And then if we widen the aperture to f5, you can see the image is getting brighter. Shutter speed has to do with motion blur. So when you're filming in video, this is going to be how accurate the motion blur is. So my arms are flailing around right now and it's going to look pretty accurate to the way your eyes are because I have the shutter speed to double the amount of the frames per second I am shooting in. So right now I'm shooting in 24 frames per second. That is the frame rate that I recommend that your finished timeline is in, so you want to shoot most of your video in that. I have the shutter speed to 1/50, and that way you're going to get the most natural motion blur. But if I have to brighten up the image, I can lower that number on the bottom, and then if I need to darker that image, I can make that number on the bottom bigger. So this is at 1/125. This is at 1/40. That's the typical rule when it comes to shutter speed when shooting video. I'm going to get into frames per second in a minute. And the ISO or ISO is basically a way to add artificial light to your image. When you're shuffling through your camera settings, you're gonna come across something FPS. That stands for frames per second. So when shooting video, just picture a moving image as 24 still pictures combined into 1 second. So that's essentially what a frame rate means. When you're shooting video, if you're shooting at 24 frames per second, which is a normal frame rate to shoot in, that means you're taking 24 still pictures, combining those stills into 1 second, and that's what makes up your video. So the majority of things that I shoot, and especially when I'm just doing talking bits, it's in 24 frames per second because I'm not going to change that in editing. The times when you want to change your FPS is when you want to shoot slow motion. Typical frame rates for slow motion are 60 frames per second, 120 frames per second, and 240 frames per second, depending on the capabilities of your camera. When you have 60 frames per second footage, you slow it down to 40% in your video editor to conform it to a 24 frames per second timeline. And then when you have 240 frames per second, you're going to slow that down to 10%. Now, there's some soccer going on behind us, so I'm going to give you an example of the different slow-mos that you can do right now. Te dije focal lengths. This has to do with the lenses that you put on a camera. So this is 16 millimeters, and then this is 35 millimeters. When you're thinking about focal lengths, think about how zoomed in you are into a subject. So something with a smaller number like 16 millimeters will be a wider shot. These are typically used for maybe establishment shots. You want to show where you are. You need that wide angle. The human eye is typically a 35 millimeter lens. And then say you need to zoom in on something super far away, then you would use something like a 70 millimeter or maybe even 200 millimeters. That's when you're going to be able to stand right here and be able to shoot like all the way over there, like turn around. You'd be able to see that white building in the distance. Can you see it? No, but with a 200 millimeter lens. So right now we just changed to a 70 to 200 millimeter lens. This is at 70. We were previously shooting in 35, and this is 200 millimeters. So you really get that length, you get to zoom into the subject more. Now I'm going to talk about what cameras you guys need. So I break it up into 3 different categories. There is the action adventure camera, so that's similar to a GoPro. So they are very small in size and you can attach them to your person, and they're typically waterproof. There is also the very prominent vlogging camera. This is just a point and shoot. So you're typically always gonna have a screen so you can see yourself, which is pretty key when it comes to vlogging. You wanna be able to frame up your shot, see who's in the shot. So this is my go-to for vlogging. This is a Sony RX100 V. And then the fanciest, probably most expensive camera you can get is similar to a Sony a7S II, a Canon 70D or 80D or even a 5D. These are DSLRs and mirrorless cameras. These cameras, you can take lenses of different focal lengths, you can attach them to your cameras, so you have those interchangeable lenses that you can use with a point and shoot. This lens is kind of what you get. It's equivalent to a 24 to 70. All that means is you can get a wide shot and then you can zoom in quite a bit. When I'm not using my Sony RX100, which is this little guy point and shoot, don't be fooled by the size. It is a great camera. I do use my mirrorless camera, a Sony a7S II. So I'm gonna grab this camera because this is actually what I'm using right now, and we're gonna switch over to the RX100. Say hi to my friend Cody here. So he's now filming with the Sony RX100, and this guy is the Sony a7S II. This is a great focal length for vlogging. It's a 16 to 35. That means it's very wide, but you get a fantastic image with this. What's different about a Sony a7S, yes, it is a fancier camera, but you have more diverse options when it comes to audio. Pro tip alert, people are gonna be able to forgive a subpar image, but very rarely can people watch a video with poor audio. With a camera like this, you can plug in audio like what I have right now. Is I have a lav mic underneath my shirt, and it's going directly into this camera body. So hopefully the audio is nice and crispy. Check. 1, 2. Does it sound good to you guys? This is a lav mic system, but another popular option is just a on-camera mic. So what this does is you plug it into the camera, it rests at the top, and it's very directional. So wherever you point this camera, it's gonna get good audio. All right, so I'm gonna hand this guy back to Cody here. I'll take my RX100. I love this guy. This is my go-to for vlogging. The last 2 cameras I'm going to mention is a drone. So this is how you get some aerial shots. This is probably the most intimidating camera here, and you don't have to jump right into it and have to have aerial footage. That's probably a more advanced thing to have. And the last camera is your phone, that focus on iPhone and phone videography and photography. So I'm gonna leave that up to those guys. But my iPhone 8, iPhone 10, any of the recent iPhones are my go-to when it comes to the last minute camera if I need to capture a moment without having my other cameras. Another pro tip alert is to follow something I call the 8-second rule. This is actually something I made up for myself because when you're in the beginning, sometimes shooting out in public public, and especially shooting yourself. This is what vlogging is associated with, I think, a lot, like shooting yourself out in public. Sometimes you just hit record and hit it super fast, and then you're left with a 3-second clip. How are you gonna put that in a video? So something I do when filming B-roll or maybe filming myself is I have to let the camera record for 8 seconds. I have to, because a lot of times when I'm filming establishing shots of outside, I'll film for 4 seconds and you're not left with a lot of stuff to edit. And especially with filming yourself, hit that record button, wait a few seconds, and then hop into it. The last pro tip I have for you is in regards to filming steady footage. So one more time, I'm going to borrow this camera. When you are shooting things and you want very steady footage, or maybe you have a lens with a higher focal length so you're gonna be able to shoot farther away, well, the image stabilization isn't going to be as good. So I use the strap almost as a stabilizer in itself. So I kind of like pull it out to where there's no slack. If you need less slack, even more room, just kind of put it around that. And this way you can get like super steady footage. And you know, it's like when you're walking, let's just take a walk around the unfinished studio here. It's just very steady footage. If you need to do any like quick pans, do I look cool? Do I look cool, Cody?
Totally.
Yeah. But yeah, this just really helps me out when it comes to taking shots that are steady. Now you have a good idea on what camera you should shoot with and how to shoot with that camera, but I'm gonna set aside the technicalities and why having the best camera in the world isn't the most important part of a vlog. Like anything, the story is the most important part of a video, whether it is a feature-length film or maybe a 50-minute documentary. Think about vlogging as making a 10-minute documentary of your life or you doing something fun for the day, but condensed into a 10-minute time period that you want to then post onto social media. People that you know, yes, are going to be watching these videos as you share them onto social, but also as you're kind of gaining an audience, other people you don't know are going to be watching and they might stay on your video for just the first 30 seconds. So that means that you have to find a way to really grab your audience, let them know that your video is worth watching within the first 10 seconds. Because you're posting online, people aren't sitting in a movie theater. They're not super engaged with it from the beginning. So you have to make sure to grab the attention of your audience from the get-go, whether that is a super aesthetic shot, maybe your thing with the video is making things look good, maybe it's your personality. When people vlog, you want to see their life, you want to see their friends, you want to see their family, but most importantly, you want to see their perspective. That's what you bring to a vlog that is unique, your perspective. Now, I'm in a city like New York, so there are stories everywhere, but don't let the location of where you're living discourage you in terms of creating content. That's one of the coolest things about posting videos online is you get to see different perspectives from all over the world. So whether your goal with a vlog is to grow an audience and eventually maybe sell off that audience and make a living from it, you just want to share your perspectives, you want to post videos of your family, you get to look back and reminisce on the home videos that are posted to the internet for everyone to see. Vlogging can be a very cool medium for those purposes.
And another thing you just have to have in vlogs nowadays is the fidget spinner. I'm kidding, just kidding. Those, what are fidget spinners? In addition to that, it's very important to find your niche. People don't wanna just see you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but they wanna learn, they wanna be entertained, they wanna be inspired. So I would say that my niche is probably technology. I love to do tech videos, and then living in New York City adds that extra layer. This guy right here, his name is John Hill.
He's
also a YouTube vlogger. What is your niche?
It's skateboarding, but I just look for a message to tell in each video, and I try to incorporate skateboarding somehow into that message. So usually like a life lesson or something that I've learned or some sense of adventure that I'm going on that day, and I bring along my board, and then I sort of validate myself with skateboarding and then hopefully tell a good story at the same time.
So you have a lot of skateboarding footage out and about, there's a lot of energy.
There do.
But then you insert your unique perspective on life.
Yeah, and I try to add a little filmmaking flavor in there to give myself some more credibility in that field, but I'm learning, and I'm learning by Sarah Dici.
You found a camera, you shot your vlog, and now it's time to take that footage from the SD card from the camera, put it onto your computer, get organized, and start editing. Insert your SD card and create a folder for your project. So you're gonna put your footage in here. So whether you're working off of your computer, laptop of any kind, or you have an external hard drive, I create one project and then put everything I'm using, including music, graphics, anything I need into this one folder. So I'm gonna open up this folder, footage, open up the SD card, find my footage that I just shot. I'm going to grab that footage, drag it, and drop it into my footage folder. There are several different types of editing softwares you can use. I personally use Adobe Premiere CC. CC stands for Creative Cloud, and it includes a ton of apps, not just for video editing, but Photoshop, Lightroom for picture editing as well. The equivalent video editing software from Apple would be Final Cut Pro 10. If you want to just start with the basics, on all Macs, iMovie is included. So just start on iMovie. It's a pretty simple drag and drop video editing software. Because I use Premiere, I'm going to bring you into the software and show you how I edit in here, give you the basic rundown of the app. I'm going to start a new project. We will title it First Vlog Ever. And then I'm gonna make sure this project file and everything I do when I'm working with my first vlog ever to be in this same folder titled Vlog. So I'm gonna create a Premiere folder where all of my Premiere assets are going to go. I'm gonna press OK. And now we're in the video editing software Premiere. The first step is to import the footage that you want to edit with. So I am going to find the footage in the vlog folder, click it, Command A to bring it all in. I'm going to organize my footage in a bin, so I'm going to drag and drop. Next step is to create a timeline. The timeline is where you're going to put all of your footage, where you're going to make your final video. This is where you're gonna put the clips together, the music. All of my footage was shot in 1920 by 1080. That is just the resolution of the video. Of course, when you shoot in 4K, you have bigger dimensions to work with, so you're going to get more sharpness. But this one is in 1080, so I'm going to title my sequence here, First Vlog Ever. I'm gonna press OK. And so here is the timeline. I'm gonna double click the footage folder. I wanna see it in thumbnail format so it's easier to see. Bring it on over here. Organize by the order of the clips. Okay, so let's go ahead and just click on a clip that I shot in New York City out here. Say this is our first clip of our first vlog ever. So I want some establishing shots of the city. I'm gonna press I to set an in point and then O to set an out point. That represents the part of the video that you want. You're gonna take that video and drag it down into the timeline. You can expand the timeline by just clicking the plus button. And so you can press spacebar and play your movie that you have so far. To preview the footage I want to see, I'm just double clicking here on all of the footage that I shot. I can press spacebar to preview. And a quick pro tip is you can use these shortcuts J, K, and L to shuttle forward, backwards, and to stop your footage. It's a really easy way. So I'm going to press L to go forward, K to stop, and then J to go back. Say I want to go through this footage super quick. Well, you can double click on the L to go twice as fast, double click the J to go twice as fast backwards. Shooting slow-mo can really add some extra oomph to your montages, and I love to use it. So if that is what you did, an easy way to organize it in Premiere is go ahead and put all of your footage in the list style. You want to organize by frame rate,
Go ahead and highlight all of your slow-mo clips. I know these are 60 frames per second, and I'm going to right-click and say label. We're gonna label it pink or magenta, and then this is 120 frames per second, even slower slow-mo. So I'm going to label this mango. So now when we're browsing throughout the footage and we see maybe some of this walking and we drag it down to the timeline, we know because it is orange or mango, whatever that color is, we know that is a 120 frames per second clip. We can go ahead and press Command R and slow it down to 20%. And now you're going to get that super nice, buttery slow-mo. So right now we have a talking clip to start us out, and then it goes into some slow-mo. So you probably want some music at some point in your video, but you don't have to. That's the beauty about vlogging. It's you sharing your experience or niche wherever you are. You can make it as artsy, as cinematic as you want, or it can simply be just you and a camera, you going about your day, sharing your passion and niche. But I love to add music to my videos. So the way to add extra assets is you're gonna press Command I to import again, but this time I'm going to go to my music library and pick something out. Okay, so we imported some vibey music here. Double click to preview. All right, so I set my in and out points, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and drag this onto the audio timeline. All of these tracks above this line are the video tracks. All of the tracks below are the audio tracks. So I'm going to line up my audio accordingly. I can click on the audio while pressing Command to add a editing point. Click Command and the audio. Then I'm gonna bring that point or keyframe down, and this is gonna add a fade to the music so it will nicely fade into the song. And maybe fade this out a little bit. So now we have the very, very beginning of a vlog. Those are the very basics in order on how to get started, but I'm going to pull up a finished product where I can kind of walk you through a finished vlog. This is also the vlog that I posted as an example, something that you can follow along with, maybe take some notes on vlog. This is an example of a vlog that has all the kind of flavors that I like to include. It has technology, a new phone unboxing, and then I also traveled to Los Angeles, California to go to a conference. I covered that, and then back to New York where I documented some fun shenanigans running about a city. It is definitely fast-paced and hopefully not boring at all. If you're wanting to grow a following on YouTube via vlogging, you gotta be entertaining. Things kind of have to be constant. Like performing on a stage, you have to give 150% of your energy to the camera so it comes off as normal in the video. This is how I have things organized in Premiere. I really only have my project window where I keep all of my stuff, and then separate panels for all of the footage, and then also any other cameras that I used, including my drone. Once I've kind of formulated the story in my head, that's when I start dropping down clips. Now, this might look kind of intimidating. It is a lot of stuff. It typically takes me around 5 hours to edit a vlog like this where there are a lot of moving parts. I'm gonna go through kind of the ins and outs of this, so if I mention something that you don't understand, like an adjustment layer, it gives you the term and you have the context, so maybe you can later go and Google it and you can figure out how to apply it to your video. So I started this video immediately getting right into the iPhone 10. I have some music playing underneath. And then after about a minute of talking, I jump into a montage. I'm going to the airport, I'm going to LA. So here you have some examples of drone footage, time lapses, slow motion. This really sets the establishment shots that I am in a new place. I am in LA. Here you can see these are slow motion clips. They are pink, so it's 60 frames per second. I slowed it down to 40%. Later on, we have some super slow-mo. That's why I labeled it in mango. And so If we go into the settings here, Command R, you can see it's slowed down to 20%. I like to use music a lot in my videos. I think it really moves the video along, but this is where you see my audio ducking. This is basically where you lower the audio when you're talking so you can actually hear the levels of your voice. You don't want full blasting music when you're talking. And so that's what you can visually see as I'm setting these keyframes here, and I'm ducking when I'm talking, and then when it's time for a montage, I will bring that level back up to full on. After you mastering just dropping clips, adding music, maybe you want to add a little bit extra flavor, and so that's where these extra video tracks come in, where you can layer things on top of it. Something called an adjustment layer is where you can add certain effects over all of the videos underneath. So it's a really easy way to not just apply effects to individual clips. That can become super redundant. You can add an adjustment layer over and then cut it up. You can change the duration of it. And really this allows you to add those effects like color correcting to your clip. Here, I'm going to toggle it off. So basically what I've done to my image is just brighten it up a little bit and add some of the color tones that I like into it. So if you double click the adjustment layer, you can go into effects controls and see how I color graded things. I used a plugin called Film Convert Pro, but another great way to color correct your footage is something called Lumetri Color Panel, where you can come in and change the exposure if I need it brighter. You can change the saturation, so you can add in a lot more color. It's really up to you, and the possibilities are endless. So now you have the basics of editing, but what do you do after you complete your video? When your video is done, you're gonna want to export that file. So go ahead and go to the end of your video. You're going to press O to set that out point, Command M to export it. You're going to choose the format of H.264, and then typically in video editors, you're going to have a preset for YouTube at the resolution that you shot at. So that's 1080, and then you're just gonna press export, and then that's the file that you upload to YouTube. Why should you use YouTube to upload your vlogs? And hopefully I can offer a few tips and tricks. YouTube is very familiar to the general public. So when you tweet out a link to your YouTube channel or a YouTube video, hopefully those people will subscribe and wait for your regular content on the website, because vlogging helps if you vlog on a consistent basis. Maybe start with only uploading once a week, and then 2 a week, and maybe even 3 a week, or even going daily. Quantity is important on YouTube, but I would say that posting a video every single day isn't as important as it used to be. There's something called the YouTube algorithm, which is what serves up new videos to people on their recommended feed. It allows for new creators to be discovered and for videos to kind of have that viral effect if people are clicking on it quick. And so there are certain strategies you can have on YouTube to grow. First and foremost, the title and thumbnail of your video is almost everything. When a new video pops on my recommended feed, or maybe it's on the sidebar of a video I'm already watching, I get very intrigued by the titles and thumbnail. Is it relevant to my life? Is it topical with what's going on in the world? I'm into tech, so better believe I watch all of the new phone unboxings. So find your niche, what are people posting about, and try to kind of like hop on that bandwagon so maybe you will get served up into the algorithm. Number 2 is your video has to be good. Maybe it's not perfect quality or it's not super cinematic, but it's engaging, it's entertaining. You gotta give people a reason to stay once they click on your video. YouTube is such a massive platform, and there are so many hours of footage being uploaded every single day. So you have to find a way to stand out. Once people find your videos, how are they gonna stay on your videos? How are you going to grow your following? Well, the goal on YouTube and the YouTube algorithm is always kind of a mystery, but I think at the end of the day, if your videos keep people on YouTube longer, if YouTube sees that you have engagement, you're probably going to be pushed. So use the tools on YouTube to get people to stay. Recommend some of your other videos. Make sure to use the certain annotations that you can use on YouTube, and post on a consistent basis. You don't have to post 5 videos a week, but maybe strive for 1 video a week, or maybe 1 video every other week, and then ramp it up from there. But at the heart of it, vlogging should be fun. You have a unique perspective. Maybe you have something to teach or to inspire people or just entertain. So it is definitely up to you, and it is a great launching pad to really learn how to use your video skills and really embrace them and share and document your life with the world at the same time. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Definitely go pick up a camera, start vlogging, start documenting, because it can be a ton of fun. Maybe you have been shooting in fully auto mode, and usually that's best when the camera is turned around this way pointing at you because you don't have a lot of controls. But maybe try to shoot manual with your camera. Take control over it and see what kind of shots you can get. If you've never spiced up your videos before, maybe add some music, add some slow-mo, maybe a time lapse to add to your story. Happy creating, guys, and I will see you on the internet. Go shoot that vlog.